Welcome back to Listening to Audio Podcast. Today, we're diving into a topic that's both fascinating and deeply personal, the emotional side of financial decision-making.
That's right. You're not just a spreadsheet. You're a person, a wonderfully complicated, emotional person. It took me a while to realize how crucial this understanding is when it comes to managing money.
Exactly. The key takeaway here is that we shouldn't aim to be coldly rational in our financial decisions. Instead, we should strive to be reasonable. Being reasonable is more realistic and helps ensure we stick with our plans over the long haul.
I love that perspective. To illustrate this, let's talk about Julius Wagner-Jauregg, a psychiatrist from the 19th century. He had a rather bold approach to treating syphilis by inducing fevers with malaria.
Right. He noticed that patients with syphilis sometimes recovered when they experienced fevers from other illnesses. So, he thought, why not use that to our advantage? He injected patients with malaria to trigger those fevers.
It sounds dangerous, and it was. Some patients even died from his treatments. But ultimately, he found success with malariotherapy, leading to a Nobel Prize in Medicine in 1927.
And it's interesting how Wagner-Jauregg recognized that fevers, often feared and treated as nuisances, actually play a role in fighting infections. This brings us back to finance. Sometimes what seems like a setback can actually have benefits.
Absolutely. Just like fevers are misunderstood, so too are our emotions in financial decisions. Many people treat their investments as purely logical, but emotions can guide us toward choices that align with our values and help us endure tough times.
Speaking of emotions, let's discuss Harry Markowitz, the father of modern portfolio theory. He famously split his investments between bonds and equities based on minimizing future regret rather than just maximizing returns.
That's such an important point. Markowitz's approach highlights how being reasonable often trumps being rational when it comes to investing. It's not just about the numbers. It's about how those decisions make us feel.
Exactly. And remember the study suggesting young savers should use leverage for stocks? While mathematically sound, it's almost absurdly unreasonable for most people to stick with such a risky strategy after a market crash.
Right. People are emotional beings who react strongly to losses. If you lose everything in a downturn, the likelihood of sticking with your plan diminishes significantly.
This leads us to the idea that loving your investments can actually be beneficial. If you have passion for what you're investing in, you're more likely to ride out the tough times instead of bailing at the first sign of trouble.
Exactly. Commitment during lean years is crucial for long-term success. There's a strong correlation between staying committed and achieving positive financial outcomes.
And let's not forget about home bias. Investing in familiar companies makes sense emotionally, even if it's not the most rational choice on paper.
Yes, and even day trading can scratch an emotional itch for some investors, helping them stay engaged without derailing their overall strategy.
In summary, while finance often emphasizes rationality, embracing our emotions can lead to better decision-making. It's about finding that balance between logic and feeling.
Well said. Remember, your financial journey is uniquely yours. Embrace those emotions and make decisions that feel right for you.
Thanks for tuning in to Listening to Audio Podcast. We hope you found today's discussion enlightening. Until next time.